And welcome to Americans for Truth Live, folks. I'm Pete LaBarbera, president of Americans for Truth about homosexuality, and we tell the truth about homosexuality because the media loves spreading lies, and leftists love spreading lies, and all the politically correct forces in this country are all about untruths about homosexuality, and we endeavor to tell the truth about biblical sexual morality. I'm here with my good friend Mike Heath of Helping Hands Ministries. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Pete.
Mike is in North Carolina. I am in the People's Republic of Illinois. I'm still stuck here. Oh no, where the taxes always rise and liberals are always in power. We're going to have some fun today, guys. We had a blast yesterday interviewing Stephen Black, who is somebody who doesn't even exist according to the left. He is an ex-gay. He left the homosexual lifestyle. Oh no, he left the homosexual lifestyle, folks. Yes, such people exist. There's many thousands of them, but you'll never see them on TV, not even Fox News, because of why? Because the politically correct narrative is being gay is who you are, right? It's who you are. It's the essence of your humanity. And it's a good thing. It's like being black, even though I've never met an ex-black. Mike, have you ever met an ex-African American?
I have not, no.
I have never met an ex-Hispanic. You ever met an ex-Hispanic, Mike?
I haven't.
And somehow, Mike and I have each met dozens of ex-gays, former homosexuals, people like Stephen Black, who are out of the homosexual lifestyle. They are content, they're happy, they're living good lives, and yet they get smeared by the left. But today we are going to talk about this story, which is viral. It is a stain on the left, yet another example of leftist politically correct hypocrisy. The Covington High School story. Let's get to it. This is the case of the boy who was allegedly staring down the Native American, and he was a hateful person because he was smirking at a Native American activist, and it was a meme. We will see, but what happened was the media didn't tell the whole story, which is these Catholic high school kids who were attending a March for Life in Washington, D.C., who were waiting for their bus, were actually the victims of hateful attacks by a radical group called the Hebrew Israelites. Jared, play the clip. This is what the media or the social justice warriors did not report at first, and it boomeranged on them. Let's see it, Jared.
Vicious crowd.
You want to wave high? A bunch of incest babies. A bunch of babies made out of incest. Right, trailer park babies. This is what America make America great looks like.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
If this the best nation, why y'all can't get rid of lice season? If y'all the best nation, get rid of that damn lice on your back. Get rid of lice. Get rid of lice season. Goddamn dog. Get rid of your...
Stop it there, Jared. So what we have here is the Black Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, whatever their name is. They were chanting truly hateful slogans at these students, and then the students did the school. I mean, they're high school kids. They did a high school their cheer. They responded. What the left wingers on Twitter, the Twitter mob, was doing was saying that Nick Sandman, who you will see here. Do you have a video of that, Jared? The student Nick Sandman, who basically was just staring when this Native American protester was drumming right in his face. Do we have any video of that? There's the you can see him right there. And everybody's seen the picture of this kid who was just standing there as this activist was drumming in his face. Okay, here he is on the left. That's Nick Sandman. And then the activist right there drumming in his face. And this became the picture to the left of bullying. And of course, notice his crime. He's wearing a Make America Great Again hat. So this became the meme of the left as to why the student was the hateful one, bullying the poor Native American activist. And so many questions. Why did the Native American activist do nothing while these Hebrew Israelite vicious people, in fact, they were yelling, using the F word, describing homosexuals, which nobody can use. And it's a bad word. I don't use it. They were using it. I think they were yelling at one of the students was black, and they were yelling hateful things at him. I mean, this was terrible, but the only clip we saw was this student, and he was supposed to be hateful because he was smirking. And let's play the interview that he did with NBC, I believe it was. Tee that up, Jared, where this is even after a lot of the truth came out, the true context of it. Notice the questioning from, I think it's Savannah Guthrie from NBC News. Note the questioning.
See that and are making a judgment about who you with a smirk on his face.
And I'm willing to stand here as long as you want to hit this drum in my face.
What some people see is a young kid with a smirk on his face.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say for people who see that and are making a judgment about who you are?
Well, people have judged me based off one expression, which I wasn't smirking, but people have assumed that's what I have. And they've gone from there to titling me and labeling me as a racist person, someone that's disrespectful to adults, which they've had to assume so many things to get there without consulting anyone that can give them the opposite story.
We looked at that video and thought about how it felt from the other's perspective. In other words, there were a lot of you, a handful of the others. Do you think they might have felt?
Okay, hold it right there. I mean, this is just incredible. And Chris Plant, the commentator, great conservative radio host, was just going wild on this. First of all, these are adult black nationalist activists who are yelling hateful things at these high school kids, and she's making it look like, oh, the kids are the bullies. And then give me a break. The smirk. Are you kidding me? The leftist media, their whole shtick is a smirk. We've been dealing with smirking leftist journalists our whole life. Anybody who's in the pro-life, pro-family movement is used to journalists smirking. They smirk at our entire belief system.
For goodness sakes, Peter, the whole March for Life, which I heard someone say today, drew 750,000 people. I don't know how many, but I was there. And as I said on your show, I stood there for 2 hours, 2 solid hours, as people walked past me, and they were compressed together. I mean, there were tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands anyway there. This whole March for Life would have been ignored by the smirking media if it weren't for this opportunity that they saw to propagandize as if pro-life Catholics are anti-Native American. I mean,
it's all about Trump. It's all about really, if these had been girls, even girls wearing a MAGA hat, Make America Great Again, I don't think they would have done this story. The fact is that it's white boys with MAGA hats who obviously are not anti-Trump, although I think he said he just got the hat as a souvenir. I mean, but what's astonishing is this interview occurred after all the truth came out to light about how hateful these activists were, these black nationalist activists were towards these kids. And yet Savannah Guthrie is still acting as if, somehow this both sides here. No, the kids are the victims here. And the media is incapable of just saying, we screwed up. I mean, and come on, the smirk, or maybe it wasn't a good thing to put the MAGA hat on. Folks, what I want you to understand from this is this story here is a metaphor for what we've experienced all along, especially in the fight against big LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender.
Amen, Peter. Amen.
This is a metaphor for the contempt that they have for truth tellers out on our side, for the lack of context. Are you kidding me? We've talked about it many times. The media doesn't even think there's another side to the issue of homosexuality, gay, transgender, whatever it is, whatever the current fad is of the day, whatever that fad is on the left, that's the side that the media takes. And This is a gift for us. This would happen. And who knew? I think Nick Sandman, this kid, I mean, look, he's more mature than the media. He's more mature than the adults in the media. And I think Chris Plant brought that out too.
An earthworm is
Look
more
at
mature than the media.
Look at the composure of this kid. I mean, the media has become a joke and people see it. And Trump was smart enough. Look, I was a Cruz guy before Trump got the nomination. But I'm not sure if Cruz could have won this nomination. You know why, Mike? Because Trump saw that the media was the issue. We've got the Trump. Read that Trump tweet, Mike.
I was okay. Looking like Nick Sandman and Covington Catholic students were treated unfairly with early judgments proving out to be false, smeared by media. Not good, but making big comeback. New footage shows that media was wrong about teens' encounter with Native American. God bless Peter, our president. I mean, most presidents before this guy, I can't think of another president before this guy who would have even paid any attention.
No, because Trump's like a chess player who sees several moves ahead. Trump saw that the media was part of the key to getting himself elected, and the media can never forgive him for that. And they are worse now than they were in when the election was being decided, and they can't learn from it. And what we have to do in our movement, Mike, is we have to make the media an issue again. Did you ever think about this one, Mike? Who decided that the media would become the arbiter of sexual morality? Because the media has now taken the side of the gay lobby, and they've said, no, the anti-gays are immoral. The cruel, the hateful religious right. And they've redefined hate and love according to an ideological definition of hate. It's become a political definition, and the media has expounded this. This is what the media has done. But who said the media gets to decide what is moral in our society? Well, who made that determination?
Well, unfortunately, Peter, it's the people who are sitting there and watching all these advertising on mainstream media channels, cable channels. And in between the ads, there's something that I guess it's called content, but it lasts a very short period of time. Most of what we consume now in the media is advertising.
Right.
And that advertising is produced by big corporations. And it's all about big, Peter. It's all about big. It's big, big, big is what dictates what's true. It's what dictates what we're going to believe. It's got to be big or we don't believe it. It's got to be big government.
Well, if I could,
corporations. It's got to be
well,
big.
Yeah, and also, Mike, and also in the culture of likes, Facebook likes, it's become a popularity contest. And when you've got big tech running that, and then they're actually discriminating very aggressively against us, against people of faith, especially what group has been more discriminated against than people opposing big LGBTQ?
Nobody.
And let's face it, folks, in our culture, sin is trending, right? If you stand against sin, you are, in our culture of likes, I mean, it's easy to well, love is love. That's trending.
Peter, the Christian who dares to poke his head up and say homosexuality is, something that makes me uncomfortable. That person, that member of the public, that leader, even that pastor, has been the most systematically discriminated against in my lifetime. Well,
and everybody, and we commented before how even it's much more easy to be pro-life than it is to be against the gay agenda.
But now, Peter, what's happening is the big is trying out a new strategy to respond. It's not systematically. They're still systematically squelching the voice of truth from men like you, but at the same time, they're rolling out a new strategy, which is absolute censorship, absolute cutting a person, eliminating them. For example, Alex Jones, they erased him from the internet. Now that's not the same thing as the systematic silencing that's gone on for decades against people like you, but that's what's coming for you next.
Right. We're all going to get Alex Jones, and I want to make it clear there's parts of Alex Jones that I don't agree with when he goes into, I think, sometimes extreme conspiracy theories. But you're absolutely right, Mike. But let's go back to Jared. Can you pull up the story on Mike Pence and Lady Gaga? Okay, there's Lady Gaga slams Mike Pence as the worst representation of what it means to be a Christian. So here you have the left, which often utterly despises what true biblical teaching is, now claiming the right to decide who are the faithful Christians, who are the good Christians, and who are the bad Christians. And everything's subjective, Mike. Everything is subjective in our culture. And, you know, we used to talk about relative morality. This is relative morality on steroids because, Mike, we have to remember now, why is it that so many straight people who are not homosexuals are more radical defenders of big LGBTQ often than gay advocates themselves? It's because they define their goodness. They get their idea of being good from this. In other words, this is the big civil rights crusade of our day. We are good. We are moral. Oh, those evil Christians who believe the Bible or who say that the Bible is anti-gay, they're the bad ones. Mike, everything is subjective. And now we have this ridiculous story where Lady Gaga, I don't know if you could pull up the story there, Jared, where she says, I'm a Christian and I know that what Mike Pence is not saying. Well, you know, what does Mike Pence believe? He basically believes the Bible. He, as we said yesterday, I think, Mike, or the day before, Mike Pence is actually, he's a noble Christian. He actually has the guts, at least, to say, look, I'm going to live out my Christian beliefs, even when it's politically correct, even when, you know, the world would laugh at the idea of not going to a restaurant alone with another woman. I mean, the world laughs at that, Mike. And yet Mike Pence, I'll give him this. He has the guts to still defend that and live that out, even as a public politician. To me, that's pretty noble.
Yeah, I agree with you that Pence deserves to be supported and congratulated for that. But at the same time, I mean, he's pretty weak. I've seen.
I mean, he was weak in Indiana when push came to shove. There was a push against a religious freedom bill, and Mike Pence crumbled. And so, but we've talked about this before. Mike Pence becomes the symbol of conservative Christians. And if there's anything that the left hates conservative Christians. The left hates conservative Christians who defend life, who defend unborn children, because, of course, unborn children can't defend themselves. And by the way, I have a brother who's got Down syndrome, and many Down syndrome babies are eliminated in the womb because, hey, they're not perfect. I mean, reminds you of the Nazis, right? We got to eliminate those imperfect human beings. I mean, my brother Jimmy is one of the most wonderful human beings you'll ever meet, but he's not perfect. So, if we're having one of those, eliminate them. So a lot of Down's babies get eliminated in the womb. But the left
Pete, you should also point out that this is a clear example of Saul Alinsky's tactics there, what they're doing on Pence.
I mean, yeah, isolate, stigmatize, but Mike, who does the left hate the most? Even more than pro-life Christians, they hate Christians who believe that marriage is only between a man and a woman, because of course that's what marriage is. They hate Christians who believe that morality, the Bible is a source of morality, and in the Bible is very clear that homosexual behavior is wrong. It's a sin. They hate Christians who believe that, you can actually leave. Homosexuality is not who you are. You can leave it behind. They hate those Christians the most, and Mike Pence becomes the symbol for them. And so Mike Pence and his entire family, his poor wife Karen, took a job teaching at a Christian school. Oh no, let's frame that as a discriminatory, an anti-gay school. It's quite clear what the media is doing, and this. But the great story about this MAGA hat kid, this great kid Nick Sandman, is these little stories which happen accidentally because the left overkills, the left goes too far, Satan overreaches. They become a tool for us finally to teach millions and millions of Americans. And thanks to Trump, because of what Trump did, Trump popularized and he educated people on just how vicious and wrong and unprofessional the media are. And now the cat is out of the bag. I don't think the media is ever going to get that credibility back unless they actually start being fair again and saying we're not going to just latch on to the leftist narrative of the day, right, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if they repented and came back to doing what they're supposed to be doing as an institution, which is reporting the truth, telling the truth, and keeping opinion where it belongs, then I think that people are forgiving in general, and that things could come back. Are they going to do that? I don't know. I mean, look at the rising power of global. I feel like globalism is on it. Hopefully, it's on its having its last breath. I hope that.
I don't know. And you know what, Mike? I don't.
Right now is the death rattle of globalism. But
I don't know if I don't know if they're going to do it. I would have thought. I mean, I would have thought the media would be a little bit humbled by Trump, even if they despise Trump and hate him. I would have thought they'd say, you know what, the way we covered this election, you know, we need to get back to some journalism because that actually helped elect the man we hate. Mm-hmm. But we haven't seen that at all. We've seen CNN. I mean, I'm astonished. CNN, MSNBC. I'm astonished at how just nonstop anti-Trump. Every time you turn on CNN, if you happen to just turn it on, just do an experiment. Everything is anti-Trump, and I think, and I'll tell you what, folks. Even if you're a conservative, and you think, oh, Trump is, he's not perfect. I mean, we know that. We didn't elect Trump for his history of moral behavior. I mean, come on. I hope Trump grows. I hope if he's not a believer right now, I hope he becomes a born again Christian. And I hope that because of the people he's surrounded him with, he becomes a better person. But there's a whole other story there, Mike, because the left is like the Pharisees of the old days, right? Mm-hmm. They can't forgive. If somebody did something wrong, and all of a sudden the left are the moralists, right? They're going to lecture Trump on his immorality. Come on. This is the left is destroying this country because the left is the power force behind sin and perversion and abortion and now no borders. I mean, this is the left, and now they're going to lecture Trump. I mean, give me a break.
Right. We need to pray, and we need to ask God, ask the Holy Spirit to show us how we can properly and with prudence vent our sense of outrage. Good people are outraged. They deserve to be outraged. They're watching their country become ugly, and we should want to build a beautiful country. We should want to build a nation that celebrates marriage, that celebrates multi-generational families, that loves infants. When we see, why, when we're talking about infants now in the popular press, we always have to talk about abortion. What an ugly topic to have to discuss. We want to move to where we're in the media and in public celebrating the innocence and the purity of infancy, of childhood. When do you see that celebrated? Remember
and we want to regain, Mike, I think we want to regain purity for young adults. I mean, it saddens me to see women now becoming, I mean, some of the comedy, oh my goodness. Amy, I can't remember her name. I mean, the vulgarity that's now spread in the movies to women doing it. It's like women are going to be as crass as the stereotypical crass male character before. Who's I'm forgetting her last name. Amy. She's a vulgar comedian.
You're the one who pays attention to pop culture. I stopped years ago. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Amy Schumer. I mean, if you look what comes out of Amy Schumer's, it's just shocking. We want to recover. I mean, women used to be the ones who civilized men, and they still are. I mean, if you marry a good woman, you're going to get civilized. I mean, but now we see this sort of weird sex positive feminism in which women like Amy Schumer, they talk dirty just like guys. Oh, that's supposed to be a big advance. What a great advance for women. Now they're foul mouthed and they're vulgar, just like the stereotypical caricature of the vulgar man. I mean, give me a break. This is what we see everywhere. And, but Mike, I want to address something. We got a great letter, and I love it when people write in, and we're going to have the show be more interactive, folks. But I got an interesting email saying, hey, I hear a lot of religion on your show. I just want to know, are you going to also talk about this from a perspective other than religion? And of course, in fact, my approach on this issue has always been to get the facts. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Sometimes it's very difficult. I've got a book here by that Mass Resistance put out. Mass Resistance is a great organization. They're actually just one of the most wonderful groups. I would encourage you to support them.
Amen.
They're a tremendous group that fights the big gay, big trans lobby. And they put out a book here called The Health Hazards of Homosexuality. We're going to make it available through Americans for Truth. And the book is called Health Hazards of Homosexuality: What the Medical and Psychological Research Reveals. Look at this book is 600 pages long with footnotes, hundreds and hundreds of footnotes. I know the person who wrote this book. They're just a tremendous researcher, and This is filled with the inordinate health risks associated with homosexual behaviors, the STDs, hepatitis, HIV, everything associated with the behaviors. And we need to talk about that, because remember, what is happening now in the media? The media is trying to, as they do, is, as we talked about, again, the verse we cite again and again and again, Isaiah 5:20, good is evil and evil is good. What does the media do? Because the media imitates the LGBTQ narrative. They say that the health hazards, the only hazards to homosexuals come from outside, come from the people who oppose homosexuality, right? That's the narrative. And so they're banning ex-gay therapy for minors, and then they'll go to adults. I think in California they've already done that, or are attempting to do it. Again, this is talk therapy, which the implications of this are immense. Imagine in a free country, Mike, I mean, God forbid, let's say you had a boy who was molested as a 10-year-old by an older homosexual perverted man. And then you say, I want to take my son to a counselor who will guide him into normal sexuality. Just because he was victimized by a homosexual pervert, a predator, a pedophile, I want to guide him into normal sexuality. God forbid. Can we say that, Mike? Can we say normal sexuality?
When I started in this fight 30 years ago, the other side, the big LGBTQ side, would always say to me, don't say that we're going after the kids. Don't you dare say, we're not going after the kids. This is about consensual adult. This is about consent. Remember those days? I mean, that lasted maybe a decade.
Oh yeah, and that was the line before them, Mike, in the early gay activists. We're not interested in the kids. Well, now look what they're doing.
And it makes me so angry, Peter, that we've gotten to this point. Now it's all about the kids.
Right. And they're banning, think about this. They celebrate when a kid embraces any identity, whether it's transgender, whether it's bigender, all these weird identities. It's just unbelievable how many they've created, right? They celebrate it. But if a teenager decides, hey, I want to return to a God-honoring sexuality, which a natural sexuality where I will marry a boy, I'm a man, I will marry a woman someday. That's what they hate. They hate the idea of returning to a natural, normal sexuality. And they're actually using the state now, fighting for the state to ban such transitions and ban a therapist from even helping it. I think it's 13, 14, 15, 16 states maybe are now banning that, Mike. So it's not that way in North Carolina, but in my state in Illinois, if my son was molested by a homosexual predator, if my son were molested by a homosexual male predator, I could not take him to a counselor who was practicing gay to straight therapy. In other words, ex-gay therapy. There are wonderful cases of people coming out of homosexuality with the help of a therapist like this. They are trying to ban that. And so this is what, Mike, you're absolutely right. Now it's all about the kids, and they've flipped it so that the only thing they condemn is when a kid says, hey, I'm going to leave the transgender. I mean, there are wonderful examples of people now leaving. It's called detransitioning. They fell into this gender fluidity thing, Jared, this crazy thing that you're not born boy or girl. You're assigned a male identity, assigned a female identity, as if it's not who you are. No, you're either born male in the vast, vast majority of cases. You are born male, you are born female. That's who you are. But this crazy movement this crazy ideological movement is trying to say, no, gender is fluid. But if you leave that, that's the crime to the left. And so we are going to expose this. We're going to expose this identity that's directed at children. They don't care about safety. I mean, look, the health hazards, look how thick this book is. This is just Mass Resistance's book, which I encourage you to get. You can Google it. The book is Health Hazards of Homosexuality. We'll be offering it as well. But people, look, this is a sinister agenda. the media is part of the LGBT queer movement. And you need to know that what they did to this poor kid and these Catholic Covenant high school kids from Kentucky, what they did to them is a microcosm of what they've done to us as conservatives, as moral people. Hey, we're supported Americans for Truth. We're supported by atheists who still adhere to the traditional morality. It's not just Christians. It's anybody who says that there is a natural sexuality, which is healthy and good, and marriage is between one man and one woman. And that's just the way it is. And we will defend it to our dying days because that's the truth. And the LGBTQ movement is a lie. And folks, Mike, you take it out on the donor page and then we'll go back and close it out. But thanks for watching today. Mike, show people how to support, not just support Americans for Truth with donations and prayers, but also how to sign up for our email newsletter.
So Jared's bringing up the website, americansfortruth.com. On the right sidebar there, you have the donate button. He's got the donate page up. Please go there now if you're watching live or if you're watching the archive version of the show, and make a donation to Americans for Truth, because that's what makes it possible. It's your donations. We don't get any grants from the government. We don't get any great big huge gifts from big corporations. We rely on mostly small gifts from people just like you. So go to americansfortruth.com and spread the word that this show is now being produced, and consider joining the show. Go to the website, send us a note, and say you want to get an email every day. We'll send you an email. Next week, we're going to be rolling out the phone number. The show will be you can listen live at 12 Central Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on your phone. So if you're going down the road, if you're a trucker and you've got a mobile phone and you've got, everybody's got unlimited minutes now, you can listen to the show on your phone for free, no charge. So free on the internet, free on the telephone. Spread the word. We need your support. Most of all, we need your prayers.
Thanks, Mike. And remember also, this is a worldwide show now, folks, and because we're a worldwide movement. It really accelerated under President Obama. Thank goodness that presidency is over. But it's people all over the world want to hear they want to side with Americans who defend truth, and not when our government spreads these LGBT lies all over the world. So if you're listening in the Netherlands or watching in Togo or Kenya, we welcome you. Spread the word. And we will be interviewing people from all over the world. Folks, and remember, life is too short to be politically incorrect, and defending morality is not hate. As a Christian, as a conservative, as a moral-minded American or a citizen of the world, you need to remember that it's your duty to defend truth, because it's God's truth, not ours. Sorry, I'll say that again. It's God's truth, not ours, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.